Joining me now to discuss former Georgia congressman and host of the Doug Collins podcast, Doug Collins himself, and the host of the Ike Wingate Show, Ike Wingate. Okay, so Ike, I'll go to you first on this. We've seen a lot of these polls come out. Where are they getting this data from?
I don't know where they're getting the data from, because every poll I'm looking at shows that Donald Trump head-to-head actually is doing better than Joe Biden. And there's a clear path to victory even without these swing states. And so if I'm in the Trump campaign, a much more disciplined, organized campaign, I'm feeling pretty confident at this point.
Yeah. Well, obviously, Doug, too, we have seen a national poll that puts Donald Trump over Joe Biden. It's not a national race, but before we get to the states, this is kind of concrete evidence that DeSantis is not correct.
Well, I mean, what else is Jeff Rowe and the Super PAC going to say? I mean, look, they need to run their race and quit worrying about, who's going to be better. They need to make the case. If they're really wanting to make a case for DeSantis to be president, they need to start telling them why and connecting with voters so that Ron DeSantis can make his case. Right now, they're just too worried about saying, well, Trump can't win, so you got to come to us. That's not a real good winning strategy there. Hey, we going to win. And they're not even able to point to data. They're trying to break down state data and apply it to national polling. Right. And right now, look, let's just face it. Trump is on a roll. Trump's leading. He's leading very well. He's leading among others. And also, anybody going up against Joe Biden right now has a distinct advantage, because it's not Joe Biden's age. It's his incompetency that everybody don't like.
Actually, too. Ike, the number, though, is 270, okay? Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Georgia, Ohio, a couple others. Some of the ones Trump needs to get for a win, okay? So what we're seeing out of some of those states, Georgia, Trump is actually leading by 4, 52 to 48. We also have Michigan, where Trump is also leading 45 to 40, behind by 1 point, 45 to 46. But in Arizona, which was a highly contested state, we have Trump up by 2 points there, 45, 43. So at the end of the day, you think he pulls this out in the swing states, or does he make a totally different path to 270?
Well, Carl, I've crunched the numbers and looked at this. Even without states like Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, Donald Trump really can pull this out from the standpoint of winning Michigan, taking that back, winning Virginia, getting all 5 electoral votes in Nebraska, and winning Nevada. He really can do this. He has like I said, a much more organized campaign this time around, and he's taking back some of these states potentially that he had in 2016, which he could do and take the White House without any of these other big swing states that you could argue he actually won in 2020.
Well, also, Doug, there's been a number of lawsuits that Republicans have quietly been filing to make sure that voting is a little bit more accountable, so we have, an understanding and full transparency, but also the RNC was previously barred from launching ground game in some capacities by a court order. That's been lifted at this point. What does that do for a difference in this election?
Well, I think it makes a huge difference. I think for the first time in like the last couple elections, some of us have been screaming, look, if it's legal, do it. And that means if it's legal to go out and get people to vote, if you sign them up to do the harvesting, to do that, then do it. As long as it's legal, do it. Republicans have been handcuffing ourselves, saying, oh, we're not going to do that. Democrats are bad. Oh, bull. You want to win elections, you win elections. If the football field's 100 yards, everybody plays with the same football. You go do it. And we're seeing that now with ground games in Georgia, Alabama, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, Michigan, these places where we're now starting earlier. And I think that's the key. Republicans can't just sit back and let Democrats have the off years when we're just thinking about the next year election. They're out preparing the ground. And that is something that Ronald McDaniel and the RNC and all the state Republican parties have got to be doing a better job on. And that is connecting in the off years so that in the election year, it's not just us showing up as the lost uncle saying, hey, I'm here for Christmas dinner.
Ike, real quick, 20 seconds left. Do you see Donald Trump potentially for the first time in a while, Republican winning the popular vote?
I do. Right now, Donald Trump is more relatable than he's ever been. Think about it. The average American knows what it's like to be come after by maybe the DOJ or the IRS. There's nothing that makes Donald Trump more relatable than ever than being someone who has to face the system and overcome it.
Yeah, and especially to certain communities, he can say, I get it. I get the plight. Doug, Ike, pleasure being here.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.